Like, now are we, like, thinking if you spit outside 2 feet, like, then we have an issue. You have to spit directly down. It's fascinating stuff, and we're going to see the word spitting, I'm sure, show up in the rule book for the NFL a lot more after this. But until then, Manti, I will force you and ask you to look at the event and the evening as a whole. Takeaways from the game. Kyle was saying that you were into what Zach Bond had going on.
Yeah, I was into that play. I mean, I always talk about what football looks like, and that's what football looks like to me. That the effort that Zach Bond displayed on when he ran down Miles Sanders. Like, this is a guy he ran a 4.6 40. Miles Sanders ran a 4.4. But this is pure effort. This is pure love, not only for the game, but this is pure love for my teammates, like what Zach Bond just did. Like, he had to bump out, guys. There's an aerial view where he's all the way on the right side of the screen. He bumped out with the motion by Turpin, then runs the complete opposite side of the field. This play alone, I think, won the Eagles a game. If he doesn't get this stop, Jahad Campbell doesn't get the strip, Quinyon Mitchell doesn't pick the ball up, turn the ball over to the Eagles, and then the Eagles kind of go. Obviously, there was the delay, but they get a touchdown or a field goal at least.
This is like in the world of DK running down Buda Baker.
Yes.
Like one of those
If it doesn't happen, guys, they don't win that game. Like, it is a moment. It's a momentum shifter. It's a confidence booster, because all of the events that happened after that, it wouldn't be that if that guy doesn't make that play.
And even if it was that late in the night, it was a tone center probably for the Eagles defense.
Well, Manti's a tone setter too, and I love that you're pure effort, pure love, pure effort. And I got to talk about spitting. Like, it's a hard lesson.
You're going to go right there.
All right, well, not right there. I have to say to the people with the Eagles and Lincoln Financial, that was one of the best pregame atmospheres I've ever seen.
Yes.
And I include Super Bowls in that. So just if you were there, and I'm sure if you're watching on TV, it's banners. It's the Cowboys are in town. There's fireworks. There's an actual eagle, a bald eagle, flying around the link. They line up for the kickoff. NFL is back. We did it. I love football. I love this country. Rocky is playing. Gonna fly now. It's Sylvester Stallone. And then line up for kickoff. And everyone is all goosebumps. It was really special. Then it's like, oh, there's an injury. Oh, it's a bad injury. Yeah. Oh, they're bringing the cart. Now there's a flag. What is the flag for? Then being in the stadium is so strange. Jalen Carter was ejected.
Yep.
Then he walks right past us.
Yes. Yep.
It's him and Big Dom, and we're like standing as close as you guys are to me. All right. And then for about the next 2 hours of real time, Jalen Carter's just getting flambéed by the media, by social media, by everyone there. Because everyone's saying, why would you do that? How stupid can you be? You just go and spit in Dak Prescott's face? It wasn't just that he did something dumb. We were also confused, as I'm sure were, why he would do that.
Yep.
Then in a very strange turn, a new video shows up that NBC eventually showed that shows Dak spit first. And like Star Wars fans, it's like Greedo, Han shot first. It's this whole thing. Then we're in a debate of like, spit for spat about, does this change the conversation? For me, it changes it a little bit, the Dak spit. Now, I don't think it exonerates Jalen Carter, but at least it makes some logical sense why he did that.
Yes.
Okay? If you were to tell me Jalen was emotional and charged up and the atmosphere was adrenalized and he in his brain thought that Dak spit at him, even if it was this old-fashioned thing where you spit at someone's feet, then that triggered in him to spit back. That makes sense that a human being would do that.
Yes.
Prior to that, it did not make any sense.
Right.
Here's the problem, all right? So at least, Jalen, young dude, we understand what happened in your brain, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts too. But I cannot sit here and say, Jalen, I got you. Like, now you're off the hook, because it's a completely different thing when Manti, give me the jib shot. When Manti, you're Jalen, and I'm Dak, and there's players between me, and I'm chopping, and I go, okay?
To the side.
And it's down, all right. Okay, Dak said this afterwards, and after this is a Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Totally.
He says, I spit hundreds of times a game. It's just something he does. Athletes spit, humans spit, especially quarterbacks. They spit. They're the hands and all that. So that spitting on the ground as a well-established spitter.
And he was like trying to miss his lineman. He's like, I'm not trying to spit on my own teammates.
Spitting on the ground in the midst of a football game is not face-to-face, 1 foot away, deliberately spitting on someone's body, and especially their upper body. So I don't think it's even the same thing. I do think Jalen Carter should have been kicked out of the game. I don't think he will be suspended, and I'm just guessing.
Okay.
Tom's saying he just served a 1-game suspension.
Right.
And my last point is Jalen Carter should be the happiest person in the world that the Eagles won. Because if the Eagles lost that game to the Cowboys without their best defensive player, it's a whole different conversation. Now it's sort of just irrelevant, and it's on him. They won, they move on. What did you guys think?
Well, you talk about the impact.
Good job.
Dak Prescott said, like, that changed our whole game plan. When we saw Jalen Carter out, like, the whole game plan was, we're not running here, we're doubling this guy, we're not letting number 98 wreck the game. When he's out before an offensive snap, KB, he said it changed the entire
Look at the Cowboys' first drive. Right down the field. And went right at the middle, too.
Yep, right at him. Now, I will say, I did mention the youth of that defense as being the biggest question for me going into this year. And I talked about a few key players that left. But to the point of it's the leadership. Brandon Graham wasn't there a lot last year on the field. But his leadership, do you think something like that happens? If Brandon at 55 is out there waiting after a kickoff? We're not talking about this, guys. If 55 is in the huddle waiting for Dak Prescott to come out, I'm pretty sure if he saw 98 walking out there, regardless of what Dak Prescott did, 55 is grabbing 98 and he's pulling him back.
Because before the spitting, Jalen's on the Cowboys side of the ball, chirping, which I actually don't mind. Like, it's Eagles-Cowboys. Like, go ahead. That's like a Warren Sapp thing before the game. But maybe to your point, someone goes, no, come on, big fella. We haven't even played a snap yet, and it doesn't get to that. But we'll never know.
Oh, my gosh. It's well done. It's, Kyle, I did say this to you because you said we were essentially, this is where we were. These two walked by us as a crew. And I said something to you in our observation, which is Jalen had a very strange affect, I feel like, on his face, which was almost emotionless. And that still photograph kind of shows it, which is it wasn't a person of devastation. I can't believe I just did that. I'm embarrassed. That's not what that facial expression says to me. But it makes more sense now why he was almost confused, perhaps, like, I just got tossed for something he just did in my direction. So I'm telling you, it's the cone of civility, essentially, which is like, if you spit down, fine. Out, no good, no bueno.
To the side, good.
Jamie, if we're talking, Manti and I slap my knee like that, and then he slaps me in the face, it's a different thing, all right? It's not the same thing. But listen, I remember, when he gets ejected, Big Dom walks him out.
Yes.
And we walk right over because I'm like, I want to hear what's being said. Like, I don't get to be on the field that much. Jalen didn't say anything, and Dom's talking the whole time. And I remember going over and like, I want to hear what Dom's saying. Couldn't pick it up. But standing right, they just go right past us. And I would agree. Jalen was just kind of emotionless. It was very strange.
Are we the game that we have to look forward to tonight, I believe?
Oh, you don't want to talk more about spitting? Cool. Let's talk about tonight's game in Brazil. It is a big one between the Chiefs and Chargers, and some good injury news for both these teams. Let's start out with Kansas City. Wide receiver Hollywood Brown officially off the injury report and is going to play tonight against the Chargers. Hollywood suffered a foot and ankle issue back in late July. Initially didn't seem like he'd be out long, but he ended up missing several weeks. He's been ramping up over the past couple of weeks here, and when I asked exactly what his role might be tonight, I was told specifically Hollywood is full go. The Chargers also will have running back Najee Harris on the field, officially off the injury report as well, and set to play in his first game action since he suffered an eye injury in a 4th of July fireworks explosion. We saw Najee over the past couple of weeks begin to ramp up, do some conditioning work on the side. He was only cleared for contact about 10 days ago, but they moved him to the active roster. Coach Jim Harbaugh has expressed a lot of confidence about Harris's ability to play in this game tonight. We'll see how they end up mixing it with Harris and Omarion Hampton, especially given the conditioning that maybe Najee didn't get through the course of training camp here, but he is going to be out there on the field. He also had new questions raised last night about the availability of 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. I know this is not a replay from last year before week 1. McCaffrey popped up on yesterday's injury report as limited with a calf injury. I will say this cautiously. Here is what I would tell you. I do not get the sense, based on the conversations I've had so far, that there are alarm bells going off about Christian McCaffrey at this point. If there is any player you are going to take precautions with if he feels something in practice, it's the guy who's arguably your best player and missed most of last season because of a variety of different ailments. We also know that calf injuries can be tricky. At times they are precursors to Achilles injuries. McCaffrey had issues with both his Achilles last year. Again, I do not get the sense that this is DEFCON 1 at this point, but the 49ers will be back out on the field this afternoon. Kyle Shanahan will address the media. We'll get a better sense about what, if anything, McCaffrey is going to be available to do when they kick off the season on Sunday against the Seahawks, Jamie.
Here to start your season, what are the keys in slowing down Justin Herbert? Najee Harris will be playing tomorrow night. Omari and Hampton, some new members of the backfield, but what's the key for that offense?
With us, with this team and with everything we play, it's always going to start with stopping the run. That's going to be our biggest thing, is being able to stop the run and making them one-dimensional as much as possible, and then kind of going from there.
We talked about the travel a little bit, but you guys are used to being on this stage, a game of this magnitude, with the amount of media attention that'll be there, traveling long hours, everything that goes with playing a game in this spotlight. How does that experience practically help you guys, help you prepare for tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's every game is different, and every situation that you're in is different. So just being able to have played international games before I went to Frankfurt a couple years ago, and just playing Super Bowls, bye weeks, all that stuff, you're able to have your routine, but adjust your routine for the week and weird weeks like this one is for sure. So just having that experience is the greatest teacher, and preparing us for these weird weeks and these games. So it's all good. It's all good. We love it, and all the attention is great.
The first chance for an AFC West team to take a swing at the Kansas City Chiefs, the champs of the AFC. Things that you want to look forward to, or make a parallel, Kyle, to the cocktail that you'd want to sling from the bar with the commissioner and Mr. Hunt and watch the game. However you want to take it.
As long as Elizabeth Shue's there drinking it, I'm fine. I'll make anything. I'm into. Listen, you hit the nail on the head though, James. Divisional game. This is a big deal. We saw the Eagles-Packers last year and down there. It was great. It hits differently. This is a very important game. This is not an exhibition. Mm-hmm. This is not a warm-up. This is not a show. This will matter in a division where we all expect to be very competitive. Yeah. So we're going to be sitting here, Manti, in late December and be like, man, that game back in South America decided this and that about the Chargers. There's a lot of intrigue about the Chargers, but I'm interested in the Chiefs. This is the first time we've seen them since a pummeling that they took last night from Jalen Carter and the Eagles in New Orleans. I want to see how Mahomes looks. I want to see Rice. I want to see Worthy. I want to see Kelce. I'm just fascinated by all these guys. I don't know if the Chargers are going to play a role in the end of things. I know the Chiefs are, and I want to get the first look at that.
Yeah, the Chiefs are because of their success, and what makes a really good football team is the relationship that you have to your teammates, like how we have on this show. And one of the best relationships that we know is the relationship between Mahomes and Kelce. And I don't know if you guys saw that clip in the interview, but if you didn't, take a look.
I think more than anything, it was just explaining to some guys how far the trip was. Some guys didn't understand how far the travel was, Travis, even though he just was down there like last year. So I was just explaining to him how the globe works.
Oh man, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun seeing all the fans there, and
he had that one coming for telling everybody I didn't know where Brazil was on the map.
So funny.
How about those two?
So funny. That's what makes them so good is when you have that relationship with your number one receiver, tight end, whatever you want to. He's a pass catcher.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what happens, right? So if you don't know what happened, they're in a press conference. They're asking them about their trip. Mahomes answers the question first. Then Kelce goes, and he immediately goes to Mahomes' voice. And it just made for great TV. So thank you, guys. I know you're going to make great TV tonight as well.
It's a valid concern because, yes, in being about to marry a global superstar, Patrick wants to make sure you understand how the globe works. And Kelsey's like, no, dude, don't put that shot across the bow.
I don't know how many people can pull off the Mahomes impression in front of Mahomes.
Yeah.
Probably maybe two. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe him and his wife. I don't know. Who else could do that?
Maybe Taylor. That would be it. Maybe three.
Yeah.
I think
because Taylor can do anything.
No, it's because they're such good buddies.
Yeah. Needles are jumping. They're all over the map. And why? Because it's week one of the NFL season. Week one is a lot of things. It's fun, it's exciting, it's fresh. but it is totally dishonest. Week 1 is a pathological liar each year, every year. What do I mean by that? You're going to see a lot of things this week, and you saw some things last night that are not going to amount to anything for the rest of the year, good, bad, or otherwise. Are you a fan of the Rollins band, Henry Rollins? Jamie listens to him every time before the show, right before the show starts. That's Henry Rollins screaming, "'Cause I'm a liar!" And that might as well be what Week 1 says. Week 1 is the Henry Rollins of weeks. You see very good things often in Week 1 from teams that go on to be miserable for the rest of the year. You see horrible Week 1s from teams that not only have good years, they go on to win the Super Bowl. So as we go into Week 1, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about Henry Rollins, and I want you to think about the evidence we are about to submit to you that Week 1 lies through its bleeping teeth. We're going to start 30 years ago. The 1995 Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre, they lose at home to Lambeau. The Packers did not lose at Lambeau much. Favre throws 3 interceptions. They lose to the Rams. It's a 17-14 dud. Favre does nothing. It's bad Favre. It's horrible. Terrible season, right? Favre won the MVP. Favre won the MVP. In fact, he won his first of 3 in a row. And this miserable, ugly, sloppy Packers team goes to the NFC title game, in which Favre was again magnificent, and they only lost because Emmett and Irvin scored 5 touchdowns combined. The 1995 Packers Week 1, liar! Next, 2003 Patriots. We have to do this one. The 2003 Patriots started their season losing 31-0 to the Buffalo Bills. And there's Big Sam Adams picking off Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 4 interceptions on this day to the Bills. Now, the backstory is that they traded Lawyer Malloy, the safety, right before the season started. And there was an ESPN report that the Patriots players, quote, hated Bill Belichick. And it was absolute fury. Terrible start to the season. The Patriots won the Super Bowl. The Patriots won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady makes magic. They come back. They beat the Panthers in a spirited game. And it's just, no one cared that 4 months ago they lost to the Bills and Lawyer Malloy was an afterthought. They came back to wax the Bills next time they played them.
Which Super Bowl was that in that early 2000s?
The second one.
The second one.
This is the second one.
So they had Super Bowl hangover that game.
Yes,
they were coming back
that
to
was
celebrate.
everywhere at the time, Jamie. Yes, you could go on AOL Fan House and read all about it back then. The 1995 Patriots, or rather 03 Patriots, liar. Let's advance way up in time. Do you remember the 2012 Colts? I definitely do. This is Andrew Luck Colts. Fresh face Andrew Luck. They go to Soldier Field, and they get stopped by 20 points. The Bears put up 41 on them. Andrew Luck, 3 interceptions on the day. They guess what? This season's over. Reggie Wayne can't do anything. The Colts made the playoffs. They were 11-5. Nice. Andrew Luck was a Pro Bowler. He was runner-up in a spirited race for Rookie of the Year to Robert Griffin III, who was a sensation. They won 2 games the year before and won 11 games this year. Who cares that they lost to the Bears Week 1 and gave up 41 points?
T.Y.
Liar! T.Y. Hilton always balls out. Now here, let me, if you don't mind, in the director's booth, let me, as they say on the TV, come back on camera, okay? Because you think you have the segment figured out. You think you're like, all right, really crappy debuts, and then they turn into an awesome season.
Yeah.
There's a flip side to that coin, my friend, and it's not good. Some team this weekend, in Week 1, is going to look great. And you're going to say, we got a team. The team's going to win 2 games all year. I've seen it. I know it, because that sometimes Week 1 lies about the teams that are good, and they aren't good. Do you want to go back to 2014? Because I do.
Not really.
If I'm talking, well, we're going. This is a one-way. The 2014 Titans featured Jake Locker, once looked at as a generational prospect. I know that's a loaded phrase these days. They go and they beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead, and they beat the Alex Smith Chiefs 26-10. It was a beatdown. It was not a competitive game. The AP reports that the Titans were implementing a new offensive system under Ken Wisenhunt, and they looked fantastic, and they're just rolling. And Alex Smith, the spirited guy, and that you can't do anything. Well, my friends, I can tell you the Titans would win 1 more game all year. 1 more game. That's a 2-win team. We went to Arrowhead. We took down Arrowhead. 2-14. Miserable season. Awful season, because Week 1 was what?
A liar. I always think about how embarrassing that is then for the Chiefs to have lost to a 2-win team.
You lost to the Titans?
Yeah.
But then just tell them it's Week 1. People know
cool.
Week 1 is just full of BS. Let's go to 2018. This is getting more modern now. This is the debut of that man.
Wow.
Sam Darnold, USC, hotshot quarterback.
Great.
They go into Detroit. Oh, baby. They put 48 points on the pre-Dan Campbell Detroit Lions. Sam Darnold's on the New York Post. We got a hero. He's going to take us to the Super Bowl. It's Broadway Sam. Sam threw 2 touchdowns, 116 passer rating. Matthew Stafford was picked off 4 times. Jets. Guys, the Jets finished 4-12, and Todd Bowles was fired.
Oh, man.
That's week 1. It's not nice.
But I'm glad that everyone's doing better since then. Todd Bowles with the Bucs, Sam Darnold with the Seahawks.
That's Jamie.
So you're saying that Sam Darnold was on the back of the New York Post?
As a hero. He might have even been in the front. He might have even been in the front. But listen, there was this pass that I remember that being picked off. So the Jets, just a terrible season. I went to the Jets facility at the end of that season, do like a special vignette. I was there on the day Todd Bowles was fired. He walked past me in the hallway to go to the press conference, and he just looked ashen. Just looked like a shell of himself. It was a rough season.
Why do you always find yourself in strange situations where people are walking past you?
Exactly.
Last night, Jalen Carter looked like a shell of himself. I know. I don't know what it is. All right, so Jets, week 1, big-time liar. But then in a first ballot Hall of Fame entry to the Week 1 as a Liar Club, I give you the 2024 Saints, last year's Saints, also known as the Week 1 greatest show on turf. Do you remember what the Saints did? 47 points from Derek Carr. You'll never forget the Derek Carr Saints era. This was a record for the largest Week 1 win by any team that went on to lose 12 games that season. Guys, it was, guess what? The Saints also beat the Cowboys the next week.
Yes.
Who was a liar? They scored 44.
And you kept telling us, guys, don't do this.
Chill. It's probably Schrager was coming out of his chair about, the Saints have something special. They beat the Panthers. Week 1, we don't judge until week 2. But I have to tell you, the Saints season utterly fell apart after week 2. They lost 7 in a row. And after scoring 40-plus the first 2 weeks, they only averaged 14 points the next 7 weeks. All right? So bring me back my Henry Rollins with the anger and the muscles and the tattoo, because he was screaming at this back when the Packers and Favre lost to the Rams back then at Lambeau. Because I'm a liar. That is the physical manifestation of week 1. Ripped, angry, tatted up, wise, though. So my takeaway is this. If your team sucks this weekend, don't panic. It's going to be all right. It's not definitely going to be all right, but all is not lost. Week 1 is a liar. However, my friends, if your team is really good this weekend, easy. Don't start buying things you can't afford and making all kinds of nonsense online. Pump the brakes. Because a year ago, the Saints were going to play in the Super Bowl, and then they didn't do anything. Trust me on this. Week 1 is a what? A liar!
Week 1 and maybe week 2, because to that Saints game, they scored 91 points. It was the second most they ever scored in franchise history. And I remember in our fantasy football league, guys were going berserk over Alvin Kamara, and then it went on.
Yeah. Kyle, you know, when you make references to bands that I don't know, I immediately like to go on Wikipedia and make sure I understand. A critic once called the Rollins Band and described the singer, Henry Rollins, as he shouts angry, biting self-examinations and accusations over the grind. So don't do that about your team in week 1, okay? Don't get angry. Don't do biting self-accusations and self-biting accusations over the grind. Don't do it, okay? Just hold.
We'll get Henry Rollins on the show. He'll come in the New York studio probably. He's probably there. Huge respect for him. I loved him. Big-time movie actor, too. But also he's finding his voice in the NFL in the form of week 1 being a liar. I hope so.
Didn't play a down. It was after the kickoff. He was out there, Tom Pelissero, and he was ejected. Walked to the locker room, not to be seen again. What happens now with further discipline from the Eagles or the league at this point?
Well, Jamie, the NFL is reviewing the entire spitting incident for potential additional discipline. That is standard procedure in any case where a player's act, in this case a non-football act, leads to an ejection. There's a few important points here. One, Jalen Carter effectively served a 1-game suspension last night by getting himself tossed prior to even playing a snap in that game. If you go back through NFL history, there have been several spitting incidents. Those have generally been handled with fines, not suspensions. Also, important to note here, because there was a lot of talk on the broadcast last night, there's been a lot of talk through the offseason about the NFL's emphasis on sportsmanship, on players treating each other with respect, and the emphasis to the officials to throw flags. Spitting on an opponent, whether that happened this year, last year, 5 years ago, that's always been a bright line. As referee Sean Smith said, that is a non-football act. It does qualify for disqualification. As for Dak's role in all this, there is not a rule for spitting in the general direction of somebody who is standing several yards away. There is no type of equivalency here to walking up to somebody and deliberately spitting on their chest. So I would say it is unlikely that Dak Prescott faces any league discipline. At this point, we'll see exactly what the league does. History would suggest it will be a fine, not an additional suspension that would take Jalen Carter off the field in week 2 for a Super Bowl rematch against the Chiefs. But again, they are going to review the entirety of that situation. May take several days until we have a determination, Jamie.
Kyle, we had kind of an odd situation up yesterday. Breaking news. It was really fun, but it was a positive thing because it was part of the Broncos defense.
It sure was, and it's one of the best young players in the league. We have a living, breathing show this morning as we just get done with Cowboys Eagles. We're going right now to the Denver Broncos, where Nik Bonitto joins us live after having signed his huge deal. Nick, what's up, man? So good to see you. What's up?
What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning.
Fired up to see you, especially today on a Friday. We know you have the season opener in a couple days. It's so cool that you're here. And we're going to give you our gratitude of welcoming you to the show by asking you about what happened in Cowboys-Eagles last night. I appreciate you. I know you know ball. I know you're watching ball all the time. As a guy on the defensive side of the ball, what are you thinking when Cowboys-Eagles is starting and we see the best player on the Eagles defense ejected for spitting at Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott?
No, I mean it was a pretty funny start to the game. Obviously, like he just had probably a lot of emotions going through him. He was probably just really excited to play and saw that stuff build up. Led up to that decision. But I mean, it was just a great game overall. I enjoyed it, start to finish. It was a good game.
It's a weird situation. It was funny in your interpretation, and at times it has this air of like, I kind of understand how that unfolded. Nick, a lot of emotions behind, I can assume, what has happened to you over the last 100 hours or so, which is this brand new deal, this investment in you as a player in this prolific Broncos defense. How do you feel in terms of this commitment that you get from a team that knows that you are about to take off in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge that, everybody has that confidence in me as a player to know that, I'm still going to be ascending over the next couple of years. And just that trust in my coaches and my teammates to know that it's pretty special, man. And, I'm just happy that I can be a part of, this thing that we're building here. So I'm just happy that, I'll be here for the long run. So.
Nick, man, not only have they seemed like they invested in you from a money standpoint, but from my standpoint as a defensive player, they also invested in you by bringing in different guys. Now, they bring in Dre Greenlaw, who's been the motor for that San Francisco 49ers defense. They bring in Talanoa Hufanga. You already have Pat Surtain. They paid Zach Allen. How excited are you about this Broncos defense? Because I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to keep the guys that we already had, like you said, locking up Pat not too long ago, locking up Jonathan Cooper, the guy that's opposite of me, like you said before, Zach Allen in the middle. So just having that continuity on the defensive line is going to be great. And then obviously like the new guys we brought in with Huff and Dre, those are obviously big additions with the stuff that they've done in their career so far. So, I mean, just being able to have the new guys, join what's already been built in, it's going to be amazing for this defense and the team this year. So.
Nick, for you guys to do what you want to do this year, you are going to have to beat a lot of really good coaches. We love this. The AFC West has 4 Hall of Fame coaches. I mean, it's never really happened before in one division like that. Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh and Sean Payton, your guy, Pete Carroll. Tell us about your guy. Tell us about Sean. We've watched Sean for decades. You've had so many different coaches going back to being a kid. What is it about him that makes him unique and makes him the guy who gets the job done this year?
Yeah, man, Sean, he just came in with his own culture, which is fine, honestly, because, all he's done since he's gotten here is just improve the team every year. whether it was going from whatever wins my rookie year to 8 wins to last year having 10 wins. And every year, he's just looking to improve and looking for, different ways to better the team. And you could just tell every year that, he's just had such a big impact on the team and everybody's buying in. So, you can see the impact immediately from year one, how well he's had.
Yeah, Sean Payton's definitely a great coach, Nick. I got coached by him when I was in New Orleans for 3 years. But KB asked you about the coaches. I want to ask you about the quarterbacks that you go up against because the AFC West has some of the best quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and now Geno Smith. What makes, even though you haven't gone against Geno Smith yet, what makes those quarterbacks different?
Yeah, just speaking with Geno, we played him in Seattle twice now. He's obviously a good guy, great quarterback in this league. He's done a lot of things. I feel like all of them can beat you in different ways, too. Geno's a guy who can use his legs to beat you and his arm, really. Chargers, Justin, he's a really good quarterback. He can stand in the pocket, make all the throws. And obviously, Pat, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's making magic back there, making it happen, doing whatever he can to help his team win. So it's going to be a good challenge for us this year, facing all those guys. And I think Coach VJ will have a good plan, whenever that time comes.
Nick, last year in your building, you tried to support and usher a rookie quarterback into the NFL in Bo Nix. This weekend, you're going to try to get after one in the number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward. The Titans are coming to your house.
Yeah.
You are going to maybe deliver that man a welcome to the NFL moment.
Yep.
How have you prepared for Cam Ward in terms of, if he is a young guy like this, do you try some things on him? Do you push him around? Is there any talking? What goes through the mind of a rookie quarterback if you're preparing for him?
Yeah, he's obviously a great player. He went number 1 overall for a reason. So, just looking at how he looked in the preseason, he looked quick, he looked decisive. So we're just going to have to try to, make it a little uncomfortable for him, make him, not have to get off to that fast start that he's been getting off to in the preseason. So just messing up his time and rhythm and getting pressure on him early is going to be big for the defense.
Nick, you are a great player. You are a great dude. You come on our show in the morning from the hotel room, and first thing we asked you about some guy spitting on some other guy, and you're such a good sport. We hope the Broncos get all their dreams and goals, everything this year. It'd be a very cool story, and I know you will be right in the center of it. Guys, Nik Bonitto on a Friday.
Thank you, Nik Bonitto. Well done. Well done.
Enjoy this weekend, man.
Thank you guys, too.
And here comes Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, patiently waiting, fires to the goal line, touchdown! Isaiah Likely, and now it comes down to a 2-point conversion.
The whole season comes down to this play.
Lamar rolls to the right, throws, complete, no!
Oh, the ball was dropped! He had the 2-point conversion in his hands!
The Ravens, for a 12th frustrating year in a row, will fail to win back-to-back playoff games.
That's how the Ravens season ended, in heartbreak in Buffalo. Sunday night, they return to the Western New York to once again face the Buffalo Bills before we head north. I got a chance to hang out with Kyle Hamilton, and we got things started by reliving the final moments of that brutal loss.
Super confident. It was out of my hands at that point.
Roll, flip it, got it. Oh, the ball was dropped. He had the 2-point conversion in his hands.
That was not how we envisioned our season going or ending. It was abrupt for everybody. We saw ourselves playing at least a couple more weeks. It was a tough ending.
I want to read you a quote. One play does not define anybody. He's the all-time leading touchdown receiver in Ravens history. He's been a consistent beacon of success the whole time he's been here. That was your comments about your teammate, your brother, Mark Andrews. Why was that important for you to say that at that time?
We live in a day and age where it seems like everybody has an opinion. Most of those people aren't involved at all in the sport, not in the locker room, not on the field during camp when it's 95 degrees for 2.5 hours in pads, and people don't really understand. That's like me going to somebody's job and critiquing them about crunching Excel sheets or something like that. I felt like I should try to get ahead of it and protect my brother, my friend, my teammate.
The MVP conversation wouldn't be one without Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Let's start with the guy you face.
He's super athletic, got a freakish arm and arm talent, arm power, and is uber confident. And I think that kind of spread to everybody on the offense and on the team.
Now let's move on to your guy. He's a two-time MVP. Everyone talks about his running ability, but last season he had 4 rushing touchdowns, but threw 41 passing touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. How does he continue to build year after year?
He's probably the most talented quarterback ever, just physically. And then the 1-2 is there as well. It becomes a problem for a lot of teams. Because I think he critiques himself the most. Takes accountability for every mistake that he makes, and it's not a lot. I mean, that's a sign of a great leader, and I think that's why he's become so good in this league.
Let's go to Sunday, the bright lights of Sunday Night Football.
Obviously, I love playing in front of our fans, but something about playing on the road, you know you're not wanted there, and the wind feels a lot better when you know you're taking the wind out of somebody's sails.
I know you come from a family of athletes. How old were you, bro, when you thought to yourself, man, I can play this game of football?
Yeah, I've been playing ever since I was 5. I don't think I actually knew I could play in the NFL until probably after my freshman year of college.
If you could give that freshman year Kyle Hamilton a message now, what would it be?
I would say just trust in yourself. Tomorrow's gonna take care of tomorrow. Just be where your feet are. Just keep your head down, keep grinding.
There it is, guys.
Great job.
Thank you, man. Yeah. First ever one-on-one interview. I was nervous, guys. I really was. I'm more nervous on this job than I was on the field. But the thing that guy does on the field, it's miraculous. And he got paid the next day. So he was pretty reserved. But
no, really?
It helped.
Twisted that knife a little bit.
It helps to be good at jobs like this when you guys are as smart as you are, and that is a smart football player on the field for the Ravens defense. And anytime you want to fire these two up, you put on a gold Notre Dame picture.
I'm a Notre Dame fanboy. Manti's a Notre Dame legend. It doesn't matter. We meet in the middle, and you put up those gold helmets. We're like, woo! We're looking at Lamar and Josh. Nothing. Notre Dame. Woo!
Lamar does a no-throw look.
Yeah, that's cool.
See the gold helmet. Ooh.
Yeah. we love it. Right now, okay, cool. From the hip.
Here
we go.
Let's go on the clock. I got a list of games here, 4 if we have time to get to all of them. And we'll start with that game. Exactly. Ravens-Bills. It feels like you could do the full 60 on just the quarterbacks. If someone wants to wiggle around on some other topics, you can.
No, let's go with the quarterbacks.
Sure.
Someone's going to blink in this game. I think Lamar and Josh will be both fantastic. Someone will make a mistake. Yeah. And it's going to be a fumble or an interception or even just something as subtle as a guy they have open who they just overthrow. It's going to be a question of a blinking contest. Whoever makes the first one, when they've met in the playoffs, it's been Lamar. Is it Josh's turn? I'm so excited for this game.
The thing about this, if Josh makes a mistake, I think it's heavier. It weighs heavier. Whereas if Lamar makes a mistake, because he has those guys around him, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mike Andrews, I think he has a little bit more support. And I think that kind of played into last year's equation with Josh doing all the things he did with the supporting cast. No, I'm not disrespecting you, Buffalo Bills skill set. But what I am saying is what the Ravens have on their roster, it's nasty on offense, defense, all 3 levels of defensive line. That rush, you know it's going to get there. Roquan Smith is the middle linebacker there. He's a green dot. And then you have that secondary that's just going to be a lot.
Really fascinated by the run game in that one as well. Just the characters involved and Derrick Henry. We saw Saquon Barkley just not be like the full-blown Saquon last night. What does Derrick Henry look like? Plus James Cook got his big contract.
Yeah, James.
All right, moving on. Steelers-Jets. There was a bit of a flip-flop, a whoop-de-doo with the quarterbacks between the Steelers and the Jets this summer. Justin Fields playing for the Jets now. Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. He's got to go back and be on that field that Kyle probably doesn't have great memories.
No, not at all. But he doesn't have distant memories. Just there last year, he used to call it Jet Life Stadium. I think both quarterbacks are fascinating, both of them, for different reasons. 41-year-old Rodgers in his 21st season. What does he have? How does he look? Not traditionally a fast starter. Everyone says he doesn't want to be hit anymore. What happens when he does get hit? In the meantime, Justin Fields is very enigmatic. There's so much to like about him as a person, as a teammate. He generally doesn't win games. And his winner as a starter is not good. And the only time he did start winning games, Mike Tomlin pulled him out so he could put Russell Wilson in. Yeah. It's a strange confluence of different quarterback factors, man.
Yeah, it's also a contrast between how they're going to use him. I mean, Aaron Glenn has come out since the beginning and said, we're going to utilize Justin Fields' legs. Whereas Aaron Rodgers is in an Arthur Smith system where they're going to run the ball, but Aaron Rodgers is a gunslinger. So I'm going to look forward to seeing how does this play out. Because eventually, Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, hey, bro, I got to sling this thing. Like, I'm going to make the Hall of Fame because I'm throw touchdowns and I hand them off.
18 straight seasons for Mike Tomlin without a losing record. You always have to say that when you're talking about that brand and that logo. Does it become 19? And what does it mean for January? Moving on. Giants Commanders, NFC East matchup since we saw the first one take place last night. Now we're looking at a Giants team in Washington with Russell Wilson at quarterback plus Jaden Daniels 2.0 season.
Go ahead, Matt. So you go.
I'll go first. I like the veteran pillars for the Commanders defense. Like we talk about the Commanders offense all year long, and rightfully so. But having Von Miller there on the defensive line, you have Bobby Wagner there at the linebacker level, and then Marshawn Lattimore. He's healthy. He lost a little bit of weight. He went over there, I think, mid-season last year. So now he's had a full offseason with the Washington system, with Dan Quinn as his head coach, defensive coordinator. Yep. I'm really looking forward to seeing those veteran guys really take over.
What's Russ got? What's he got? Russell Wilson's on his 4th team in 5 seasons. And it's interesting because he gets brought in to be the Giants guy. They bring Jameis in, and I thought they might compete for the starting job. They didn't. Then they draft the rookie. There's no talk about him starting, despite how good. It's just Brian Daboll's been Russ. And that's great as long as Russ comes out and plays well. This is a divisional opponent. I don't know what Russ is going to have. Everybody says he looks great in camp, but gone in age, new team, new season. He's really one of the more intriguing players this weekend that I want to see. What do you got?
I'm surprised you didn't say Cam Scatterbo for like 30 seconds, KB. What's up?
We'll get to Cam. We'll be talking about Cam on Monday after he runs for 300 yards. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The Lions lost a lot this offseason in 2 coordinators, but the Packers also lost 2 first-round picks when they got Micah Parsons last week. So when you look at Lions-Packers, it's all going down in Lambeau. Apparently, just God's green earth, if you ask Dan Campbell about football. So Lions-Packers Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Lions. I'm so glad you put up those 2 things.
Lost 2 coordinators.
Like you lost the coordinators. They still had Dan Campbell. You still have all of the guys there that helped you be the number 1 seed in the NFC last year. Was the NFC North champs 2 years in a row. Now, there's this talk about Jahmyr Gibbs taking on a bigger role. Like starting to use him as a receiver, starting to use him as a running back more. It seems like that split. It used to be David Montgomery one series, Jahmyr the next. It seems like Jahmyr is taking on more of a bigger slice of this pie. So I'm excited. He changed his number. There's a new little feel over there in Detroit. We're going to see how it all plays out when they take on the Packers.
Oh, somebody else changed his number. It's Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
He changed teams. I'm looking at him. Would the Cowboys have won that game last night with Micah Parsons? I think it's a reasonable question. I think the answer is quite possibly. I can't say for sure, but will they win this game with Micah Parsons? All right? And he's going against the new coordinator. He's going against a pretty immobile quarterback. He's going against the guy in Jared Goff that he should get after. We saw what the Cowboys were without him. What are the Packers going to be with him? I have memories of Khalil Mack becoming a Chicago Bear, and I'm going to talk right through it. I've instantly sack, instant. Does Micah Parsons have one of these things where we're like, whoa, Micah looks like Defensive Player of the Year, or is he just out there kind of blending in? We don't want. It's not a blend-in type guy.
No, you don't want to be a wallflower when it comes to that defense. Football across the street from our studio is SoFi Stadium. The Texans are playing the Rams on Sunday afternoon. We had the StaffCon sale going in August. We're not sure what the health, and we know Matthew Stafford's available, but where is he at in terms of his prolific ability? Yeah. Where are the Texans at with what they're doing in the AFC South, Kyle?
Well, it's the 5 words that I do not want to hear this weekend. Okay, ready? Jimmy Garoppolo is warming up. No. Not me, not Rams fans, not Jimmy himself.
Yes.
If you see Jimmy in that Disney Prince face of his over there starting to get those throws in, that means Matthew Stafford's back. And listen, the Texans defense, Matt, they bring the heat, they rush the passer. Matthew Stafford will be hit many times this weekend. I don't know how many times sacked, but they'll get after him. I do not want to see Jimmy Garoppolo is warming up.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see that. Why? Because I have the Rams in my Super Bowl. And if he is, I hope to KB's point earlier in this show, week 1, I hope you're a liar because I need him there. I do like the Houston Texans because I'm excited to see Nick Chubb, guys. I really am. I'm excited to see him run the ball again. Yeah. And if the Texans offensively want to have any type of progress after last year, they need to establish that run, and Nick Chubb is the guy to do it.
You're looking at the guys who won the last 2 Defensive Rookie of the Year's award in that game, and Jared Verse and Will Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
So young, awesome defenses. Texans at Rams. That was Mad Minute.
That's it? Mad Minute, you got nothing on us, man.
Good morning. Lot of stress on this campsite this morning. I'm picking up some tension here on Survival. What is Survival? Survival is one of the most stressful competitions we have here on the program, featuring 4 entrants and 1 winner. What do you have to do to win? Just pick someone who wins the game. It's that simple. No point spread, no over-under, just more points than the other team. This is Survival 2025. Here we go, my friends. I will lay this out to you specifically. Myself, Jamie Erdahl, Manti Te'o, and most importantly, Axel Ingram, our AI-powered host, joining us for Prediction Week. And this is your standard eliminator pool, survivor pool with the GMFB twist. What we have here is our ancient tribal bonnet donated by the Sable family. Inside the tribal bonnet, we have 4 names. We have these 4 names. I will withdraw the names from the bonnets, and that will dictate our order in which we pick our teams. Now, the picks go like this. All you have to do is pick one team that will win this weekend by 50 points, by 1 point. However, if I were to go first and I were to pick the Bears, none of the rest of them could pick the Bears. The Bears are off. Also, moving forward in weeks to come, I cannot pick the Bears again. Does everyone understand? Are there any questions here on set?
No, sir.
Why aren't you wearing shoes?
Because I'm on a simulated island and I have half of a pedicure that my 9-year-old gave me. So eyes off my feet.
I see the toes
on it. I also have a didgeridoo here that I'm not going to play. But what I'm going to play is the Symphony of Survival. And what I'm going to do now, no further ado, I'm going to withdraw a name out.
Okay.
That person, and I'm really, really looking at the week 1 slate, hope that it's me, gets to have the first choice of any team that will win this weekend. I'm going to put down the didgeridoo. And I'm going to hopefully not make it a didgeridoo in that choice that I make here. Here we go. I'm doing this blind. I have full integrity. I did not freeze one of these. I'm not going to pull Patrick Ewing's name out. But what I am going to tell you, the first pick of week 1 survival. Manti Te'o,
sir.
University of Notre Dame. Manti,
yes, sir.
You can pick any team other than the Eagles and Cowboys that you think is going to win this weekend. The floor is yours.
I'm envious of your toenails.
Thank you.
I
the pectorals.
Studied the whole week 1 slate, and I'm choosing one game that I'm pretty sure is going to win this. And I got the Denver Broncos beating the Tennessee Titans at home. I believe it's 10 a.m. on Sunday.
Well, for you.
Pacific
yes, time.
Yes.
Tune in, because I'm not getting eliminated after this week. Go Broncos.
All right.
Thank you, Kyle.
Let me just do a little bit of analysis. There was one reasonable pick, and there's no longer any reasonable picks. Now we are into the upside down. We all had Denver at home against a rookie quarterback as the number 1 pick. It was obvious. And now Jamie and Axel and I are just like winging it. So, Jamie, who's next? The names remaining in the tribal bonnet are Kyle, Jamie, and Axel. I'm not rooting for Axel at all. I hope it's at least a human being that comes out of here. The second pick in week 2 Survivor.
Let's go, Jamie.
Jamie Erdahl. You can take anyone other than the Rams.
The Broncos.
The Broncos. Excuse me. Broncos.
Can I show you something about my card? I never even had the Broncos as one of my picks.
Did you look at the schedule? Jamie loves the 2025 Titans. She loves them. I think they're going to win this weekend. I like it.
Just didn't jump off the marquee, you know?
Wow.
Okay, Jane.
I rolled up my jeans. I took off my
Anyone
shoes.
other than the Broncos?
Anyone other than the Broncos. Now it's actually more stressful because I have all of my options. I wish I was going last.
I wonder if Axel is stressed. Does he feel stressed at AI? I don't know.
This is risky. Okay, I'm going to pick one of these two. Should I go with a home team or an away team? One of my friends here seems to have a working theory that it should always be the home team. However, no, I'm going to go with the home team. When the Carolina Panthers travel to Jacksonville, I believe with a new head coach and a seasoned quarterback and a unicorn on an island of survival, I think the Jaguars will be my life raft.
Jamie, it's a good pick. I had them on my list. Jags at home against the Panthers,
yes.
The expansion bowl from back in the day. So the Denver Broncos are off.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are off.
And we can't pick those teams for the rest of the season.
Correct. So
understood.
Unfortunately for you, you won't be able to pick the Jaguars anymore if they win. But you
I
should
have them
be
as
fine.
my AFC South winners.
All right. Well, so Jamie, you're done. Now listen, only myself and this thing are left. I'm going to be really annoyed if I pull Axel's name out. He gets to pick before me, but I'm usually very good at this segment, so if I have to go fourth, I have to go fourth. Here we go. Here we go. There's only 2 names left. I don't know which one is which, but I have now drawn it out of the tribal bonnet. And with the number 3 pick in Week 1 2025 Survival, Axel Ingram. All right, Axel, I'm going to tee you up. You cannot take the Denver Broncos. You cannot take the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you can take anybody else remaining on the slate. Who is your pick for Week 1 Survival?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
You're picking the Kansas City Chiefs tonight, not even at home, but on another continent against the LA Chargers. All right. He made a viable pick. Someone will have to tell me in my ear if I can ask Axel any sort of why whatsoever. You just literally load the words Kansas City Chiefs and that's it. Is there any commentary at all, or should I make my pick?
There's no technology on the island, Kyle.
We do have technology for someone to answer my question. Oh.
Go all the way.
A Chris Berman quote about he could go all the way. A nonsensical response. We're still working on it, but the most important thing, Axel picked the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Fine.
Axel, you're not beating the thought that you are Peter Schrager. You're not beating that right now.
That's a good point.
You're feeding into that narrative.
Far more charismatic, too.
Oh,
all right,
no.
so we got the 3 picks. That means I'm on the floor.
Okay.
All right? I can't pick the Broncos. I can't pick the Jaguars.
You don't want to pick your name out of the tribal
Oh, there it
bonnet?
is. And by the way, people, you cheat on this. No, I'm not. I did not want to go fourth in Week 1. It's the hardest week by far. All right, I'm just going to think out loud. I have 2 choices remaining on my list. I made a list. And my 2 choices at home are, I have the Rams at home against the Texans.
Ooh.
And I have the Patriots at home against the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Mike Vrabel Patriots. I'm going to trust in Foxborough. I'm going to trust in Vrabel. Pete knows Foxborough well. The Raiders coach has been the coach for the Patriots before. Genty's going to get a bunch of carries. Geno does not blink. I'm not great with this. I'm the 4th pick. I did not want this. I wanted Denver. But I will go with the Patriots, who also won last year, Week 1, even under Gerard Mayo. And there are our picks.
Feels like you just said that you were good at this segment. So the fact that you immediately started to backpedal, you literally justified the Raiders winning right after you picked the Patriots.
Jamie, I'm literally going to beat you in this segment. Just watch. It'll probably be next week. I'm
KB,
very good at this segment.
You said you chose a Jaguars game as well. Did you also choose the Jaguars? Because I know you like the Panthers.
Yeah.
I do, but I would choose the Jaguars.
Oh, you would choose.
I have a system I don't deviate from. It's why I win
choose
the
a home
segment
team
every year.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, but so here's the thing. This could be over next week, and we've seen that before. One of the team wins, the other 3 lose. It's just over. We do it for 1 week.
Yeah.
Or we keep going and going and going. Mansai, you didn't get the first pick. How do you feel about yours? How do you feel about that squad?
Well, I'm going to feel lonely because I'm going to be the only survivor on this island after this week, guys.
You know, it is another example of if Axel beats us all. It's just like we are just teeing the machines up.
Yeah.
Mansai, do you feel like you're back on the beaches of Oahu right now?
Yeah, he made me roll my jeans
kind of
up.
like we're on a little ledge.
Come on, sister, roll your jeans up like we're at the beach. I'm like, all right.
You know what I mean?
We're going to go to the Poke Bar. Axel, you're the best. Great to see you, my friend.
We love to see it.
Okay.